This next hand starts out with a wild configuration I've never seen before. The small blind action player straddles to 100. That's a straddle from the small blind. I make it 300 from hijack with Live King's absolute favorite hand, Ace King offsuit, and he makes it $1,100. Ace King, they can't have aces or kings, kids. Let me tell you, they just don't. So we go on for 32-35, and he puts in the call.
Call.
$6,500 pot here.
Let's go. You want to go once or twice?
Twice is fine with me.
Let's do twice.
Okay.
He's so excited to go twice.
Hey everybody, here in the garden at my Airbnb, here in LA. We're gonna go up to the Gardens Casino today. Been having some really swingy sessions since I got to LA and wanted to share it with everybody. At Gardens, they're gonna have 510, 1500 cap, and they'll probably get a no max going at some point, maybe. And if they do, we'll look at it, we might play it. 510, 20 is their no max game. And yeah, we'll see you up there. I'm just gonna sit here, relax, and try to send out before the session.
Straight into the action here, 5, 10, 20, and a $40 double straddle. We peel the ace-queen offsuit from the big blind. We make it 180 to go, and the $40 straddle puts in the call. We get a pretty good flop for our range. It's king, king, 10, 2 hearts, and I'm gonna start with a range bet here. It's gonna be small. Unfortunately, the villain doesn't really like that small bet. Maybe he thinks he's got a fish on a line. He goes with $215, an extremely small raise, and with a gut shot and an overcard, we're just gonna have to peel and see a turn. Turn, unfortunately, is a brick. It brings absolutely no help, and our villain is gonna follow through here with a bet of 3 1/4, and I think our options are limited. We're just gonna have to submit and move on. We're down about $1,000 now when the hijack limps, and we look down at ace jack of spades in cutoff, make it 90 to go. The button in action player calls, the straddle calls, and the limper calls. So we're headed to a flop 4 ways, and we flop the nut flush draw. Solid flop for us. Now, some of my bluffs are here are gonna be queen jack spade, 10-9 spade, maybe some smaller combos of spades, but with the nut flush draw, I'm just gonna check, and the button checks as well. The turn's a stone brick, and the straddle bet's $150. We call.
It's not gonna work for me, guys.
Button puts in the raise, straddle calls, and with a overcard that very well may be live against these opponents, and the nut flush draw, we also put in the call. Let's get some run good on this river. Unfortunately, the run good's not meant to be. Straddle checks, we check.
I'm ripping it. $1,205. 1205?
Button rips 1205.
I called.
Straddle calls.
He said call, right?
He said call. 8 good? Nope.
And look at this, the button on a stone bluff with a pair of 8s. This gives you an idea of what kind of action we're facing here at Gardens today. Wild game, $4,500 pot. Dude tries to run a big one and gets called by top pair. Wow. We're down about 2,000 now when we pick up ace jack off on the button and raise to 60. The big blind is the sole defender here, and we go to a flop heads up of 7-5-3 rainbow, and we decide to check this one back. Turn is a deuce, which gives us some clearance after he checks to put out a small bet for protection, and the big blind does call. River, unfortunately, does not improve us, and he checks, and we decide to check back. He shows ace-10 off, we reveal ace-jack for the winner, and I'm showing you this hand because it's one of the only pots we've won in our first 4 hours of play. We're on the board. We are still stuck like a truck here when we pick up 8-6 of clubs in the cutoff and make it $65 to go. The small blind puts in the call, and the straddle deliberates and puts in the call as well. So we're going to a flop 3 ways here. and we flop a flush. King, 10, 7, all clubs. You love to see it. They both check to us. We decide to bet $100. And unfortunately, they both fold really quickly. The run bad continues. It's frustrating. We actually flop something and get no value. Trying to dig out of our hole here when the hijack limps and we look down at ace-10 offsuit on the button and make it 100 to go. An extremely tight and passive straddle calls, and the hijack also calls. So we're headed to a flop three ways here. And we get the 8-5-2 2 hearts. Really no help to us, and we just decide to check back. The turn, however, is quite solid. We pick up top, and have some dreams of actually winning a pot today when it goes check, and the action guy bets 200. Pretty trivial call here for us, but we get a little bit of bad news when the tight straddler check raises to $800. And I know he does this into the action guy and into me. He's gonna have a strong hand here, basically always. I'm not feeling very good about where I'm at. The loose guy folds, and I also decide to fold.
Hey everybody, mid-session update. Played a short time in the 500 to 1500 game. Now 5-10-20 is running. It's no max. Currently down 3100 in the game. The game is playing quite large. Lots of $40 straddles in a 5-10-20 game already. I did play a pot where there was a $100 button straddle that didn't go my way. So being down 3,100, all things being equal, is not that big of a deal. Of course, it's also not that fun. You know, the game's tough, and you're gonna have days like this, and you just gotta kind of keep grinding and keep your head on straight. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to keep my head on straight, and I'll be back.
We're about 6 hours into the session now when we pick up ace-10 of hearts in the cutoff, facing a hijack limper, and at this point we're gonna size up. We're gonna go $120. Reason being, absolutely nobody's folding. The game's been $40, $80, $100 straddles, furious action all over the place. So we size up for pure value, and the limper calls. Flop is a pretty good one here. We flop top, and also a backdoor flush draw. He checks it over to us, and of course we're gonna go with a C-bet. Hijack deliberates, and he likes his hand. He's gonna call. Turn doesn't change much. It brings in hands like 6-4 and ace-4 specifically, but otherwise, I think we are in very good shape here. We turn up the heat on the limper. After a bit of deliberation, he makes the fold, and this is the biggest pot we've won today, 6 hours in. A $580 pot. In this hand, hijack opens a 60, and we pick up Live King's absolute favorite hand, ace-king offsuit. We make it $240 from the big blind, and the tight hijack makes the call. On this 9-6-4 rainbow flop, I'm going to usually split between 1/3, 2/3, and checking, and in this situation, I go with a $160 bet, and the hijack makes the call. Gonna need a little bit of help on this turn, and we don't get any with the jack of hearts. We just have ace-king, no pair, and we check it over to the hijack. Hijack bets 375, and I'm officially done with this hand. We're going to move on to the next one. This next hand starts out with a wild configuration I've never seen before. The small blind action player straddles to 100. That's a straddle from the small blind. I make it 300 from hijack with Live King's absolute favorite hand, ace-king offsuit, and he makes it $1,100. Ace-king, they can't have aces or kings, kids. Let me tell you, they just don't. So we go on for 32-35. He deliberates for a little bit, not too long, and he puts in the call.
Call.
$6,500 pot here.
Let's go.
You want to go once or twice?
Twice is fine with me.
Let's do twice.
Okay.
He's so excited to go twice.
You want to pair? Nick,
Nick, you got two pair or what?
two pair. Nick.
No good for me.
Wow.
Wow, you got a fucking monster, dude.
Yeah, four side.
Oh my
Nice
god.
hand.
Four side. Oh my god, four side.
It's extremely unfortunate. We get an ace-king against ace-queen. We run two boards, a $6,500 pot, and we get scooped as a pretty large favorite. It's been a tough day for us, but if you're gonna send the chips over to somebody, you might as well send them to the guy who straddles to $100 in every single hand.
Yeah, what did he have?
12 more hours.
34, 50, 34.
Yeah, that covers.
This is just the beginning.
Why? Why do you want to use?
Joe Poker Night. Joe and Nick Poker Night.
No.
3,000.
Friday night, maybe I'm making.
Okay, everybody, couple hours after the end of the session, real talk, we got fucking whacked today. In for 9,300, out for 2268 for a loss of 72.32. We got beat up pretty bad, but we got to keep it in perspective too. And I think what's hard about this profession is keeping that in perspective, right? You played like 8.5 hours, didn't get many good spots. These things happen in this game, and I don't really think there's a mitigation tactic for it. We never want to play way too big, significantly bigger than what we can afford. Outside of that, you know, you just show up and play the best you can. Probably had about 25 notable hands that I recorded today, all of which don't make the vlog. You know, I'm gonna go back and look at those spots and try to see if I made some mistakes. It's like, I want to remain stoic. I want to feel like my emotions are in check, and my emotions really are in check, but I also started this vlog to be raw and be real. And I think the realness of it is it's still a lot of money to me, and it still sucks. So what did I do? You know, I did the classic. I fucking went to In-N-Out and had a fucking burger. Fuck it. You know, it sort of feels like fuck it. But at the same time, like, we can't let the emotions get too low, and we can't get too high when we're winning, because there's going to be ups and downs in this game, and this game's hard. This profession's hard, and I think today was another really good example of that. Let me know what you think in the comments, what you think about my play, what do you think about my attitude. Really want to interact with everybody, and tell me what you're thinking, and I would love to answer some questions. See you later, y'all.
Goddamn on the press. I wail every day, fix a smile on my face, I'm a mess. I've been trying to do my best. Goddamn on the press. Can't get on my way when you ask am I okay, I say yes. I wouldn't tell you any less. Goddamn on the press.